Hey Hoover, it's Lyla Cosentino.
And Maggie White.
And welcome to the 5th episode of Hoover Highlights. Today we're highlighting someone who makes a difference in our school every single day, Miss Medley. As a dedicated high school math teacher and the advisor of the National Honor Society, she goes above and beyond in both the in and out of the classroom. From supporting students academically to encouraging service and leadership, Miss Medley plays a major role in shaping our school community. Join us as we get to know her better and talk about the impact she has on her students and our school.
Hi, Mrs. Medley. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Unfortunately, Maggie isn't with us today, but I'm happy you could still be here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so let's just start off with some background. Where did you grow up?
So I moved around a lot when I was really little, but in first grade we moved here to North Canton. So I lived in North Canton since first grade and went to Northwood Middle School all the way through high school here in North Canton.
Oh, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
What college did you end up going to?
My undergrad, I went to Indiana Wesleyan University, which is over kind of halfway between Fort Wayne and Indianapolis. Got my undergrad in math education and did a little teaching there for a few years and then moved back home.
What activities were you involved in high school?
Well, I was in band. I played the trumpet. I was in choir, high-lows with that as well. And so I did a lot of music, arts things. I was definitely, and I'm still not athletic, but I do love to watch athletic events. I also was in NHS and I was in broadcast journalism. Actually, I was in the first class of broadcast journalism, so I did that as well. A lot of arts, but some other things sprinkled in there too.
That's so exciting. So how much has it changed since
Oh my
you've
gosh,
been here?
we were the first year for broadcast journalism, so we were in like a little closet and we had a little teleprompter. I learned a ton, but it was nothing like you guys have now. It's so much nicer. I was like, the teleprompter is so big. That's the craziest thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah, we have great stuff.
You have great
here.
stuff, yes, yes.
And great teachers.
Yes. Now, the teachers are not that different. Mr. Wilson was still here, and I had a different broadcast journalism teacher, but very similar.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your teachers, did you have a mentor who really made a difference, who inspired you to become a teacher?
You know, I had a lot of really good teachers. I didn't want to be a teacher until I was my senior year of high school, and I was like, okay, maybe this is really what I want to do. A lot of it was I had teachers that really made me want to challenge myself to be better than I was. Mr. Varn is one of those. He gave me a hard time, and is the same as he was when I had him. He might have actually loosened up a little bit, but it was something that I wasn't naturally really good at, but he really pushed me to see my potential. I had a few other teachers like that, like Ms. Palmer, who's been gone for quite a while now, but she was very difficult, but allowing me to push myself. Obviously, I loved my math teachers too, Mr. Kreis. I had Mr. Collier, who used to teach AP US History. Wonderful, exciting teacher, so excited about his subject. Didn't like history, but I loved going to his class every day. So I had some wonderful educators coming up and just showed me, what's the most important part of education, which is not just the subject matter, but building your character, who you are, your ability to push through difficulties. And so I really appreciated the teachers that I had here.
Yeah, that's great. It always ends up being the best classes too.
Yes.
So you've been teaching for 19 years, correct?
19 years, yes. I taught for 2 years in Indianapolis, and It was quite the experience. I learned so much in those 2 years about myself, about dealing with students that are different than I am and outside what I'm used to. And it was absolutely wonderful experience. But when I got the opportunity to interview here, I couldn't pass it up and ended up getting the job and moving back home. So I've been at Hoover. This is my 17th year at Hoover.
Yay! We're happy to have you here.
Yes, thank you.
So you've taught math always, right? How has it changed?
Oh my goodness,
in the time you've been teaching it?
Tremendously. So technology's really exploded. I mean, when I was first teaching, we were still chalkboards. And so I'd write up the lesson and then I'd erase it. And then the next class, I'd write it again and then erase it. I did a little bit with overhead projectors. I don't know if you remember those. We'd have those and write on those, erase those. And now we've got this interactive board. We could write on our computers. It's been amazing. Kids are different, very different. It's just you're so ingrained with technology that it used to be we saw technology as kind of like a bad thing in math. Like, oh, we don't want you to use your calculators. You got to do it in your head. But now we've got such cool tools that let us see things visually that we've never been able to see in math before. Make the connections that we always want to make are so much easier to make now with the technology. And I really have kind of embraced it. I kind of love having those tools. It doesn't really feel like cheating. It's using this new technology to just help you understand things better.
Yeah, I love the visual part. I'm
Yes.
definitely a visual learner.
Yes.
So I am on board.
And that's so important that you're not just learning, like, especially in math, like you do this and then you do this and then you do this. If you don't see the connection between what's actually happening with a graph or something, doesn't seem as important. It gives a new meaning to it. And it also gives meaning to where it came from and what they were doing early on in math to try to make these connections when they didn't have the technology that we did. Makes it even more impressive what they've done.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people get discouraged by math, so
Yes.
students especially. How do you help students who feel very intimidated or discouraged by just math in general?
Math can feel that way. It really can, because sometimes you look at a problem, you feel like you've done everything right and it's just not working. It get very frustrating. Things just don't click. For me, when I struggled with math, it was always, for me, I had to step away from it because my brain had gotten everything that it could get in that moment, and I had to move away. I also think, again, technology, we have so many resources at our fingertips now that you can get so much help understanding something, hearing something a different way. You don't have to just take what your teacher said or what you have in your notes. You've got a textbook, but you've also got Google that you can look at things. You've got AI that you could say, explain this to me. Can you break this down for me? Explain it to me like I'm a 2-year or I'm 5-year-old. I use that sometimes, even with calculus problems. I'll be like, okay, this is super complicated. Here's the theorem. Can you explain this to a 5th grader? And sometimes just breaking it down, knowing the connection, why it works, is so much more important than knowing just like step by step what I have to do. If you understand the why, the how comes a lot easier, I think. So use outside resources. Talk to your friends. Sometimes working with friends, they can explain things to you way better and in a different way than your teacher can. I'm always amazed at the way my students come up with ways to solve things I never would have thought of. So that's also a really good tip.
Oh yeah, it's great to have help. I love it when math teachers put us in
tables.
Yes.
I changed to that. I never thought I would. Many years ago, I would say never, I don't want to talk to each other. I love it now. Bouncing ideas off each other, knowing that like everyone's in the same boat. That's another thing with math anxiety. Like people think they're alone, stranded. I'm the only one that doesn't get it. Everyone else understands, but not me. Well, that's not true. Everyone struggles at some point.
Yeah.
And to know you're all in it together, in the trenches together. That's what I say. It does help to know you're in it together.
It does help to know you're in it together.
Yeah.
It really, it's good bonding.
It is. It is good. It's trauma bonding. We don't want that too much, but yes, it is good bonding.
So what would you say is the most rewarding moment you've had as a teacher?
It's hard to pick just one moment, but like there are several times where I'll be working with someone that has been struggling and it just feels like they're hitting their head against the wall, like no matter what I do. And then you have that one assessment or that one moment where you see like, they got it, they finally got it, it clicked. That's a wonderful moment. But a lot of my favorite moments in education are not really on the math teaching side of things. It's the connections that I've made with students, impacting their lives outside of the classroom. I think those are the things I enjoy. I love watching my students do what they love to do. So going to choir concerts or band concerts, going to athletic events, like that is my favorite thing to do because I know it's not everyone's favorite thing to come in and do math every day. And so you don't see the same side as you do when they're successful. So that is something I really love about education, what is important to me as a teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what, it feels good to know your teachers are invested like that.
Right.
That's what I love about North Canton.
And people always say like, I don't remember what grades you get in my class. I really don't. Like I look back and be like, I don't know. I don't remember what they got. But I remember the people and I remember their personalities and what they brought to the classroom. And that's so much more important to me. That's what people remember about you. So it's important.
That's great. Mm-hmm. So with that connection that you build with your students, if you had one piece of advice you could give them, what would it be?
One piece of advice for students. I guess I would recommend advice. Don't be afraid of failure. I think failure is really hard for kids nowadays. We're used to instant gratification. We get what we want when we want it, and to have something happen that you don't achieve what you set out to do, that's a tough thing. That's a tough thing. But not achieving a goal is not the end of the world. You actually learn more from not getting there. You know, when I was in high school, we used to recognize the top 25 like you do for SUMA scholars. But we just did the top 25, and I had made my goal my freshman year. I want to make the top 25, and I didn't make it. I was 26. I didn't make it, and it was devastating to me at the time. But when I look back at it now, I learned so much from that experience, and I actually learned, I mean, I think that's part of why I went into teaching, was because of how my teachers responded to me not meeting that. They were so supportive and wrote me little notes and really just told me, like, there's more to life than your GPA. And I think failure really brings that out in you. It's so hard, but don't be afraid to fail, because nobody's perfect, and you learn so much from not achieving or not getting everything you thought. And that's hard, but it's really important.
That is such good advice.
Thank you.
That was really good.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to a little bit of a different area.
Yes.
Let's talk about National Honor Society.
Sure. NHS. Yeah, I was in NHS in high school. I remember applying. I was terrified I wasn't going to get in. When the opportunity came up at the high school, I was somewhat reluctant. It can be a lot because students are really passionate about wanting to be in NHS, and there are requirements. And so it can be really hard because you don't want to be the person that says, you know, you haven't done enough, you're not going to make it in. But I decided to do it, and it was rough because I decided to do it COVID year.
Oh, of course.
So then it was a little crazy. It was a little crazy. But I have enjoyed doing it. I think this is my fifth-ish, maybe sixth year. I can't really remember. But it's a good organization. Basically, it's a national organization that recognizes students that are performing well in they have 4 pillars or 4 tenets, they call them. So scholarship, which is the one that like everyone you can qualify for. So our scholarship requirement is a 4.0 weighted GPA or higher after sophomore year. So scholarship, then we have leadership, service, and character. So you're trying to recognize students who are outstanding in all 4 of those pillars. And scholarship gets you in the door, you know, gets you the invite. And then we have a application that is supposed to show your service and your leadership. And then character, we reach out to teachers, coaches, to make sure character is what we would expect someone in the program to have.
Yeah, so it's a lot. There's a lot of things that go into it.
It is a lot. It's a big application. I always recommend to students, it's hard because you really have to sell yourself. You know, you have to say, if I am looking at an application, and I don't actually do the applications, it's a separate entity that looks at them, but I'm looking for someone that is well-rounded. I'm looking for someone that has done service. That's hard for people, you know. You guys are super busy. You're in sports, you're in arts, finding time to serve at a soup kitchen or teach a Sunday school class or tutor someone after school. Like, that takes a commitment, but that's what we're looking for in an application. And then leadership is hard too, because you have to be recognized as a leader. It's not something you can force. So when the people around you recognize that you have those characteristics, that's another thing that we look for on the application.
Yeah, absolutely. But that application is long. So
would it surprise you to say I actually shortened it? It has been longer. It is long though, yeah.
So there's a lot of students who get invited to apply and don't because of that long application. Why is it worth it to do that application?
Why is it worth it? You know, it's worth it. It's a great organization, nationally recognized organization. Anyone you meet in the United States, you say NHS, they know what you're talking about. It's also recognized as sort of elite. It's not everyone gets in. Everyone can do this. So if that's something that you are passionate about, that you want, I want that recognition, I want to put that on my college application, or I just want to know that I've been recognized by someone who's outstanding, as someone who's outstanding in these 4 areas, it's worth it. Like, yeah, it's hard, but that's kind of the point, is that you need to actually want it. You need to put in the effort to do it, to want it, versus if it came easy, then it wouldn't be the elite organization that it is. So it's going to be a little bit difficult. It needs to take you time. You need to think about it. It's not something you can throw together in a study hall and hope that you get in. You really got to dedicate your time to want to be in it. And that then is mirroring what is expected of you if you do get in, because you are expected to do meetings and service hours and maintain that caliber that you had when you were accepted.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Those, I mean, yeah. So with all these meetings and everything, how do you ensure that NHS stays student-led while also guiding that meeting along?
I'm so glad you said that. You know, I used to be in charge of student council years ago, which is a lot. God bless student council advisors. It's a lot. And I got out of it because it was too much time. It was just such a time commitment. And so with NHS, I've really made a conscious effort to make it student-led. So I have officers. I have what are called ISP leaders, which are like our individual service leaders. So for example, I get emails from elementary schools. Hey, do you guys have people that can volunteer to help babysitting this night? I don't answer those. I send them to the leaders and say, you guys reach out to them. Or if I have an event, someone else is in charge of it. One of the things I try like at our induction is I don't really want to be on stage at all because I am in the background. The students are the ones that are leading it. So I really do try to cultivate that. That is part of one of our pillars, obviously, is leadership. So students have to have initiative on their own, getting things done, logging hours, finding ways to do service hours. It is very much student-led what they need to be able to do. It's important to me because that's one of the pillars.
Yeah, and I feel like you can definitely notice that at the induction. That you notice
like, hands off.
Run.
You guys go for it. They make it.
Absolutely.
Which is hard for me because I'm very controlling. I like to be in control of things. It's very hard for me to let go, but I do try to let go at the induction at least. I do. Yeah.
So how do you hope NHS continues to grow and evolve throughout the years?
Well, it's important to me that NHS maintains its integrity. So for me, that means, keeping students honest, keeping the expectations high for students that are admitted into NHS. Students that are being admitted, understanding that this is a special recognition and they're expected to act a certain way and continue with the character that they've had before. I want that to continue. I'd love to see the service to continue. I'd like to see service more at the high school too. So we do a lot of service at elementary schools and cleaning up the community. I'd love to see more like a peer tutoring or something like that happen at the high school where you're involved with people at the high school for your service hours too. So that's something we kind of have brewing that I'm hoping we get a little bit more of in the future as well.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I'd like that one. So what do you think you've taught students through NHS? What does it teach?
There's a few things. I mean, it teaches them responsibility. I know a lot of our kids that are getting that GPA are all, in really hard classes. They're bogged down by things, and it's hard to set aside time for service. But I think that is one of the most important parts, is performing service, doing a service for someone else is so much more rewarding and important in life than just studying for a test or going through the motions, playing on your phone. It's so important to have that service aspect because you get to see people from all walks of life. To be a well-rounded person, you can't just focus on academics. You have to also care about other people. And I think for me, that's the most important part of NHS, is that service aspect, that reaching out, maintaining integrity when people around you maybe aren't. And that's a difficult thing for a lot of students. You're learning to be young adults, and I feel like this is a good transition. Like, okay, I've got to be held responsible for my actions and for what I'm doing through all of high school.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the service part. It helps build a relationship.
It does, and it's so cool if you do. Like, I love our nursing home. We used to call it nursing home outreach. I can't remember what we call it now. I love that. Going into a nursing home and assisted living, building a relationship with them. Even elementary, going in, watching those kids. I mean, I'm not great with little kids, so that would not be my choice. But I think that it's so good building those relationships, giving of your time. And you also see the value of your time as well when you have to do things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's about it. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I talked a lot, I'm sure. No, I will say NHS, it's really hard to choose. I just want to say, like, the faculty council that we put together, really thinks long and hard about who gets admitted and who doesn't. And I know that, again, things can be disappointing when they don't go the way that we want them to. You know, maybe you don't get in your first year. You can always reapply, or maybe that's just a sign to you, hey, maybe I need to do more service or find more ways to be a leader. You can still have those tenets even if you're not in NHS. So I think it's important for people to take the rejection be humble about it and understand that, like, sometimes things like this happen, and what can I do better? What can I do better the next time? Taking failure in stride is so important, I think, and it's hard for me. I want everyone to be successful, and I want everyone to get in, and that's hard, but that's just not the reality of life, and it's not the reality of our group. So it's really good to just keep that positive attitude and take it as okay, what can I do next? What can I do now that will make it so that I do get in the next time, or that I am successful the next time?
Yeah, absolutely. Failing builds character.
Failing builds character. I guess that's not a super fun thing to talk about, but it does. And I just love, if I didn't love what I was doing, I wouldn't still be here. I love being a teacher, and I love my students. I love doing this. It brings me joy most days. Still a job, but it does bring me joy most days. So just really excited that I got to come and talk to you today.
Yes, thank you so much for
without
joining
Maggie,
me.
Even without Maggie. That's all right. That's all right.
Well, thank you so much for joining me
Sure.
today.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Medley, for joining us today. Thank you for everything you do for our school and the students. That is it for this episode of Hoover Highlights. Keep an eye out for new episodes on our YouTube channel and other social media platforms. Have a great day.